Welcome to a TLDR Wrath Guide for the Assembly of Iron, for anyone who claims to be a master baiter of cunning stunts. This fight has 3 bosses but is full single target, as when you kill one the other 2 heal to full, gain a damage buff and additional abilities, but affliction locks will probably dot them all anyway. The normal kill order is Steelbreaker, then Mulgheim, then Brundir. In phase 1, have one tank take Steelbreaker and the other take Mulgheim and Brundir, but if your off tank snaps like a pretzel stick, take another and split them. Keep Brundir away from the group as he occasionally casts a 30-yard AoE. He also casts a Chain Lightning, which should be interrupted when you can, but isn't priority. Mulgheim gets a damage shield, which buffs him if you break it, so dispel it instead, or see which of your mages has the fastest spell steal in the west. He puts a Rune of Power under a random boss, which they need to be dragged out of, but it also gives players a damage buff, so everyone's stuck inside it. Steelbreaker deals raid-wide ticking damage for healers to deal with until he dies, and he hits the tank extra hard, which gives a heavy dot, so healers need to focus heal and dispel it ASAP. After Steelbreaker dies, it's Mulgheim next. He now gets Rune of Death, a giant green mark on the floor, so don't stand in it, and Brundir now casts Lightning Whirl, dealing damage to random targets, so keep it interrupted. Assign an interrupt rotation to kick this and Chain Lightning and keep your healers happy. After Mulgheim dies, you're left with Brundir. He now uses Lightning Tendrils, flying through the air after random targets and dealing large damage to anyone underneath. Try to stay away, but it's pretty hard, so healers will need to keep everyone alive while you get curb stomped. Make sure to avoid his overload, and it's an easy kill. Now for the hard mode, which is done by killing Steelbreaker last. The kill order now becomes Mulgheim, then Brundir, then Steelbreaker. Phase 1 is the same as normal, but killing Mulgheim first. After he's dead, Steelbreaker now casts Static Disruption, targeting a random player at range, making them deal splash damage and increasing their nature damage taken. Ranged should stack in melee range of Steelbreaker and rotate the player running out to bait the cast, and positioning in phase 2 is the most important thing. Stack ranged on one side of Steelbreaker and melee on the other. Then get the tank to hold Brundir on the other side of melee so they're in range of both. This lets melee dodge overload by running to the ranged group but still not get targeted by Static Disruption. After Brundir dies, stay in the same groups, pop Lust and blast the boss. After about 10 seconds, the main tank will get Overwhelming Power, a 30-second debuff that kills them when it ends. The boss will keep sniping your tanks like a 14-year-old COD player, so make sure your tank has a soul stone and your druids have rebirth on their bars. And anytime someone dies, the boss gains a damage buff and heals for 20%, but you can and should reduce it with spells like Mortal Strike. It just means that if you die, you're the reason we're still here. Pile as much damage into the boss so you don't lose too many tanks before you can get him down. Congrats on your kills. Hopefully you weren't here for hours because someone couldn't stop dying, but it'll only get harder from here. Like and subscribe if you found this useful. I'll catch you in the next one.